What up, watch peeps? I don't know how familiar you are with the fiasco that has become the Luna Dude or the Vostok Cosmo diver project. The Russian Watches forum group was doing a project watch like they do every so often, and they had contracted Meranom to build this Luna Dude GMT watch for them. Meranom agreed. They even gotten so far as producing the hands, the dial, the bezels, even the case backs, I believe, but then they went and pulled the plug on the project. Now, I know the guy who was running it went and found some other micro brand to produce a Luna Dude for him, but it's not a Vostok anymore. It's got a Swiss movement. Not the same thing. I'm not interested. But lo and behold, Meranom put all the parts they had made up on their website for sale. So some of us are grabbing those parts and we're going to build our own Luna Dudes. The only trouble is Vostok GMT movements are scarce right now. You can't find them anywhere. And I think that is why Meranom pulled the plug on this project. It was for 1,000 units and I don't think they could come up with 1,000 GMT movements. So let's go ahead, flip the camera around and check out this project I got going. First check. I am wearing the Starmansky Dolphin in honor of all this awesome Russian watch talk that we're going to be doing here today. So yeah, that kind of Luna Dude project kind of fell apart there, but Meranom put all the parts that they had already made, I'll open this and show you guys a better look, up for sale on their website. So I got the bezel, I got the dial, I got the handset, and my plan is I also picked up, now it's a GMT movement, or dual time really, because their GMT hand is slave. I picked up a C65 for the movement, and my plan is to take this movement, put the Luna Dude dial handset on it, and I'm going to put that in this bead blasted 710 case I have here, and I think it's going to be killer. I'm going to move this Scuba Dude dial bezel over to the K65 case. I think that'll be pretty cool too. So I should end up with two slightly different watches out of the deal. So first step, I guess, is we are gonna crack this case open, get this movement out of there, and take this bezel off and straight through the Scuba Dude stuff in there. And the Scuba Dude will just reside in a whole new case. And then what we'll do is take the dial handset off of this, and we will turn it into a Luna Dude in that 710. Okay, I got that Luna Dude dial open. I wanted to share this with you guys because this is a really special and super cool dial. This watch is going to be phenomenal. This was a really exciting project, and it's a shame that it kind of fell apart, but you can see that sub-dial seconds is the moon. It's got the Space Dude. The handset that goes with this matches the text on the dial. Really cool, so let's get working on it. All right, so I cracked open the K65, took the Scuba Dude bezel off of the Scuba Dude case, put it on the K65 case. So now I'm just going to open up the back of this 710, take this whole movement dial handset and move it wholesale over to here, and that'll be kind of phase one. Then we'll have all the parts we need to build the Luna Dude. And so here is the Scuba Dude transferred over to that K65 case. This is a really cool case. I kind of dig it. I moved my Scuba Dude case back over along with this one just because it kind of went with the dial. I have a different case back for the Luna Dude that kind of matches that dial better. But yeah, I'm kind of digging this. It's like an all brushed look. And I think the bead blasted look is going to look really cool for the Luna Dude. So let's move on to that next phase. This is the GMT movement that I removed from that K65 case. So next thing I gotta do here is get the hands off of this and then the dial off this movement, and we'll put the Luna Dude dial on there and take a look at that. Getting that sub-dial second hand off was a lot easier than I thought. I thought that little tiny thing was going to be difficult, but it popped right off using the levers, not the tweezer style hand removers. And to remove a Vostok dial, the first thing you have to do is take the rotor off. There's just one screw that holds it in there at the middle. That's pretty simple. Then you have to remove two screws that hold down this kind of movement spacer. Also quite easy. Then you'll just have the movement and the dial, and there's two screws in the side of the movement that you have to loosen to remove the dial. I'll show you those and the movement holder retaining screw when I put this back together. So here is the Luna Dude dial, and it is so good. But you'll notice one thing I do have to account for here. This is a date dial, and I knowingly bought a no date GMT movement because I hate dates on Vostok watches. They're impossible to set. I never set them. They always show the wrong date. So my plan is to cover this up. It's in that nice black portion of the dial. So I'm going to put black vinyl on the underside of this movement that will cover that hole up. And you'll be able to see a little black square there. But to me, that is better than an incorrect number. So that's the plan I'm going. Let me get that done and we'll take a look at how that worked out. So let me show you guys what I did here. So this is like this thin, it's really thin, I can show you, adhesive kind of black vinyl. So I had to first put a small piece, barely the size of the date window, with the non-adhesive side facing up so dust doesn't get stuck in that little date window. And then I put another piece the other way on the back side to hold that in place. So it just kind of blacks out that date window. I know some people are going to hate that. Me personally, not ever having to look at or a wrong date or worry about setting a date on a Vostok, that is worth it for me. And if you look at a distance, it's in that black part of the dial, it just disappears. I'm going to like this so much better. Pro tip for screwing in small screws: stick them onto the end of a piece of Rodico. That way you can just take this, turn it upside down, twist the stick, screw it right in. Once it's threaded, then you can grab your screwdriver and tighten it down all the way. I already put the movement spacer on and forgot to show you the screws that hold Vostok dial feet on. If you can see in here though, there's a little screw that goes in sideways. There's one on each side of the dial. That is what holds the Vostok dial onto the movement via the dial feet. And the movement spacer is held on by these two screws. You see one here. The other one is, where are we at? Down here. If you ever forget which way this movement spacer goes, which side is up, these little screws will leave little semicircle marks on it so you can remember, call those telltales. So here it is all put together with all the hands on there. It's a little touch and go though. These hands are a little dicey. I feel like that GMT hand could have been pressed down further, but any further and clearance over that subdial seconds gets a little too close for comfort. The subdial seconds is down as far as it goes. That and the minute hand on this, the hole in the minute hand is just larger than the minute hand post. I pinched it as best I could to try and tighten it up, and it's on there, and the clearances and the alignments are all really good, but man, I don't have a lot of faith in it. So if it comes loose, obviously I'll have to take the hands off and figure out a way to get them on there tighter. But I think it's okay for now. We're going to case it up and see how it goes. These guys are pretty easy to get back together. You just reinstall your rotor, the screw to tighten it down there, and you just put in your gasket, put that back in place. Of course, I re-lubricated it. Now I just got to put the case back on, and we'll be all cased up. Oh man, this thing is so cool. I just got to get the bezel on there, which brings me to another problem that I have. Everything seems to be on there really well. It's running really good right now. Everything seems locked down solid. But this bezel, so there's a Cosmo diver bezel that came with it too, but as you can see, it was not bead blasted. And these polished edges are going to really clash against this bead blasted case, so I've taped this off and I am going to bead blast these edges so that that thing looks even. We'll get that on there and then we will be done. So there we go. Now we have a nice dull matte blasted finish on the edge of that. That'll match the rest of the case very nicely. So let's get this tape off of here, get this on, and check out the final product. Whoo, there it is. Man, this project turned out to be a little bit more of a bear than I thought it was going to be, than I wanted it to be, but the final product is really cool. I love that kind of, I don't know if you can see, but that moon is the subdial hand there with the subdial seconds. It's got the GMT hand. These are basically just dual times, because that GMT hand is slave to the hour and minute hand. All you can do is kind of set this for a second time zone, and that's about it. But yeah, I'm glad I went with this bead blasted case. I think it's a good look for this kind of lunar build. I'm really happy. This thing is neat. Check out that concentric circle dial. That is super cool. And that date window, You can see it there, but man, it almost disappears in most views. I mean, when I'm not zoomed in, you can see there, it's just basically gone. To me, that's better than a wrong number sitting there all day, because I'm never going to set the date on my Vostoks. Almost forgot, we can't leave without the loom shot. That is the coolest thing about this. Check out that moon subdial. Even the little Luna Dude himself is loomed. The hands, you can see the GMT hand down there around 7 o'clock. Even got a loomed bezel. Pretty cool. Man, this thing is awesome. Let's check out a wrist shot real quick. And there it is on wrist. This is in a 710 case. Obviously, you could put this GMT movement in any case you want. I kind of like this case a lot. But there it is on my 7¼ inch wrist, that is. So there you guys go, the Vostok Luna Dude, or the Cosmo Diver, whatever you want to call it. I am super happy the way this thing came out. That bead-blasted case with that blue dial just goes together so good. So if you guys want to build one of these, the parts, I believe they're still available on Meranom. You just got to grab the parts. You're going to have to build it yourself, but good luck finding a GMT movement. All right, guys, before I let you go, sneaker check. I'm wearing my Sky Blazers, and that's it. I'm out. If it's not too much trouble, please like, subscribe, and come back next time. Peace.